Hello and welcome to ICANN Media. I'm your host, Rob Hislop. It's day 2 at the Global Petroleum Show in Calgary, and today we're going to be talking about some new technology that's out there that may help improve the reputation that the oil sands has in many people's minds. Right now, I'd like to introduce you to Paul Krawchuk with nsolv. Paul, thanks very much for joining us here.
Thank you.
Tell us a little bit about your company first, a little bit of background.
Absolutely. We're a cleaner oil sands extraction technology company. So essentially we have a technology for in situ extraction that reduces greenhouse gas emissions by up to 75%, uses no water in the extraction process, and produces a partially upgraded, more valuable product.
It sounds like a lot of the points you're making are things that critics of the oil sands might actually be able to embrace.
Absolutely. We think it really checks all of the boxes. We believe it's a technology that could really bring the oil sands back to the forefront for economic and environmentally sustainable production.
So how long have you been working on this?
The technology itself has been in development for 35 years. The company's been around for 10 years now. We've been working on it, taking it from a technology on paper through the lab stages and now into the field where we've had our pilot plant running, injecting solvent for over 2 years.
So is this an example of your pilot plant right back here?
Absolutely. This is a picture of our pilot plant located north of Fort McMurray on Suncor's Dover lease.
So what are we looking at here that might be any different from a typical oil sands operation? I'll just get out of the way so Dave can take another shot at it.
The first thing you'll probably notice is how compact it is. And the major reason for that, compared to the incumbent technology, steam-assisted gravity drainage, as I mentioned, we don't use any water. So right off the bat, you're eliminating around 50% of your surface facilities. So we have a much more compact facility with a lot less surface disturbance.
So the footprint is smaller that way, but it's also smaller when it comes to greenhouse gases, you were telling me earlier.
Absolutely. We're a lot less energy intensive. So with steam processes, you're heating your reservoir up higher than 200 degrees Celsius. We only need to impart just a small amount of heat to the reservoir in the 40 to 60 degrees C range. So you're inputting quite a bit less energy into the reservoir, and with that you get a corresponding reduction in greenhouse gas emissions, as I mentioned, up to 75%.
Let's just switch places here and you can tell us a little bit about this diagram here.
Sure. So essentially what we do is we inject a warm solvent vapor into the reservoir. The solvent vapor, which is a naturally occurring substance, either propane or butane, nothing exotic, enters into the reservoir via horizontal wells, condenses, dissolves the bitumen. The bitumen drains down with the solvent to the production well where we produce it back up to surface. At surface, we separate the solvent from the bitumen. The partially upgraded bitumen is sent for shipping, and we recycle the solvent, purify it, and vaporize it for reinjection. So it ends up just being a continuous loop, like a conveyor belt, essentially, where we're injecting the solvent, it's stripping bitumen, we're bringing it back, and we reinject it.
So, I mean, obviously there's cost savings involved here.
Absolutely. On the CapEx side, we believe that you can reduce your upfront capital costs by up to 60%. And the majority of that is by elimination of your water treatment and steam generation facilities. But there's other advantages as well. Because it is more compact, you can get away with a higher degree of modularization. So what that means is you can take work away from the field where costs tend to get away from oil sands construction projects, and keep it in an environment where they're more well controlled in a module shop.
So what has the response been from industry? You say you've had your pilot project up for 2 years now.
We're definitely getting more response lately. I think we're seeing a lot more interest. The climate policies that we're moving forward with, both with our federal government agreeing to the COP21 and the provincial climate change policies, we're definitely seeing some interest on that front. Obviously, the no water usage is a pretty big plus for oil sands facilities, and I think the lower oil price environment is maybe making producers look a little harder at alternative technologies.
Paul, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.